A Metropolitan Police Constable, PC Andrew Turner, has proven himself to be a bit of a predator after calling a victim of crime and initiating inappropriate conversations with her. Unfortunately, I cannot find an image, so I can't help you protect yourself against him if you see him in the streets. PC Turner faced a misconduct hearing recently regarding his conduct towards 28-year-old Marwa Mohammed. Marwa met Turner when he was called to an incident that she was involved in on June 8, 2020. She said that he started making inappropriate comments about her body shape, size and form before taking her to the police station and then asking her about plastic surgery. He also told Marwa that he would have loved to conduct a search on her in custody. And this was recorded in a phone call that she recorded because she was so sick of his conduct. Now, Marwa said that after reporting the conversation at a police station, the police staff did not take her seriously until she revealed she had recorded his phone call. Although I'm surprised they didn't make something up to teach her a lesson for recording one of their own. Marwa said that 2 weeks after the initial contact with PC Turner, he called her to ask her about an injury that she sustained at the original incident. She said, "I received a phone call with an unknown number. He started the conversation with, 'I was wondering how your leg was.' And I said, 'Oh no, it's a little bit better, but it's quite bruised and swollen.' He proceeds to tell me this call is off record, so I had my friend next to me and I muted my phone and said, 'Can you please record this, because this doesn't feel right.'" Marwa said that Turner began giving her legal advice before she ended the call by telling him she had to enter Nando's with a friend. He then called her a second time and asked if she had enough Nando's for two, as she said she grew more uncomfortable with his unwanted advances. Well, what is a cop doing offering legal advice? I mean, you need to know and understand the law before offering advice. And all police are ever taught is what legislation to use, nothing about the actual meaning or interpretation of it and how to implement it properly. Marwa said, after a couple of minutes, I go on to say, "Why are you calling me?" And he says that the call is completely off record and there's not a lot of people he meets in his line of work that he wants to meet again. Then I ask him, what does he mean? I said I didn't really get what he was trying to insinuate, and he then proceeded to say, "What do I want him to mean?" He then said he really likes me and, given the chance, he would have loved to conduct the search on me in custody. At this point, Marwa said she ended the call but Turner, just like a persistent predator, tried to call her 6 more times. That is when she decided to report him. Now, one of the calls to Marwa has been transcripted, or at least Turner's part of the conversation anyway, which went as follows. Turner said, "This is an unofficial call we're giving you now, obviously, because you were such a nice person to me. I saw a lot of you. At the time, you have to be as professional as possible, but there's worse jobs. At least it was nice to look at, I suppose. With all due respects, I'm sorry if that's offensive. It's a shame for me if I don't bump into you around. I do have your number. Does that mean I'm welcome to call it? Obviously, I'd really be appreciative if this conversation never happened. Got enough food for both of us? To be honest, I don't really know what I'm like doing with this phone call. I thought that you were just a load of fun, so I thought it would be nice to have a shout. I'm not making you feel uncomfortable, am I? Harassment is if you don't want them to call you. If you do want them to call you, then it's fine. In my position, you're not really put in contact with many people that you would want to speak to after, you see. To be fair, you are the first person. I'm going to have to cross the line into being unprofessional, aren't I? You were fun to be around. It was, to put it lightly. I was hoping they would let me conduct a search on you in custody. I don't see how you could have been able to sort of hide much. I wouldn't have minded though." Now, to clarify, Turner abused his position and the police computers to access Marwa's phone number. Following the complaint, the Metropolitan Police's Professional Standards Department investigated. They deemed that PC Turner's actions were eligible for a gross misconduct hearing, which was held. The panel did find that PC Turner had breached the standards of professional behaviour and he was dismissed without notice. Well, wouldn't that be a nice and proper outcome if he had been? But alas, he was not. PC Turner was given nothing but a final written warning for preying on somebody he had come into contact with during the course of his duties, being completely inappropriate and abusing police computers to access her phone number. Marwa was of course not impressed with the outcome of the hearing and said, "To be fair, I feel like I took it the furthest I could, and even then I feel like I didn't get any justice, seeing him out on patrol. My biggest fear now is to imagine being pulled over and it's him. I don't like being pulled over by men full stop anyway, when they do the random checks and so on. At this stage of life, if I'm being pulled over, there should be a female officer present." Marwa's solicitor, Matthew McConville from Irving's Law, said, "It goes without saying that our clients and the public in general have the right to expect integrity in the police service and should have confidence in police officers to act in a professional manner. Unfortunately, there has been a definite shortfall in the services that Ms Mohammed has received in this incident, and there are grave concerns over how and the Metropolitan Police dealt with it as a whole." A spokesperson for the Metropolitan Police said the public have a right to expect that officers engage with members of the public professionally and not for self-serving purposes such as the pursuit of relationships. The actions of PC Turner in instigating and engaging in flirtatious conversation with a member of the public that he was having professional dealings with was wholly inappropriate and fell far below the standards expected of a police officer. The matter has been fully investigated and an independent chair has applied sanctions on the officer. So yet again, the police, who constantly bleat on about protecting women and how their standards are not debatable, and anyone found to have not followed the standards of professionalism or code of ethics will be dealt with appropriately, failed to appropriately deal with, in my opinion, a predator, one who blatantly breached the standards knowing full well he was doing so, and allow this cretin to continue in his role, where tomorrow he will simply be perving off of another victim of crime, or maybe even a perpetrator of crime, who knows? I suppose all that matters to people like that is that it is a woman. It's absolutely no wonder Wayne Couzens and David Carrick were allowed to carry on for so long before being outed themselves.